Good evening, and welcome to the Psychic Coffee Shop. I'm Aeson Knight, Master Psychic, clairvoyant, and all the things. And of course, with me tonight is Techie Joe with the Mostest. How are you, darling?
I'm doing okay. How are you this evening?
Tired.
Aren't we all?
Well, yeah, but I don't think everyone knows. I'm in training this week. Not teaching it, actually, getting the training.
Mhm.
A House is doing a Tarot Masters class, and yay, I signed up for it.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. So refreshing that certification, basically.
Refreshing that certification, getting some some CCUs, I don't know, continuing education. Or
CEUs,
CE,
continuing education units,
right,
or CECs, continuing education credits.
right.
So,
So getting all that fun stuff updated. Then I'm also doing a life. I'm doing Take Control by Mel Robbins. It's a life coaching thing at the
hmm
same time because I don't know, everyone thinks it's time to educate.
Yes. Sorry about that, guys. I was working on a client's computer. And I was suddenly realizing that I'm not going to be able to do a show with that between my knees. Um, I know. I said what I said.
I know.
I know. So, hey, Shannon. Hey, Brenda. Oh, hello, Melissa.
Hello, Melissa. Hello, Miss Brenda. It's the Shannon show. Shannon, maybe we should talk. Maybe you should do a show, especially when you get to Mexico.
Ooh, yes, please.
You can take us on rides and, different things and that type of thing.
Hey, that works.
Yep.
That works. Take us for tacos. Street tacos are amazing.
Mm-hmm. Well, I was watching a thing and said that, living in Mexico is going up. Because, I've always joked about, and there's now, it used to be about $400 a month the last time I looked at it. Now it's about $2,000 a month.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's to live in the nice part of Mexico and, have the pool boy, housekeeper, that type of thing.
Well, living around the world,
Mm-hmm.
exploitative expatriatism.
Yes.
Because it's what we're doing. It would be what we're doing. It's what a lot of people are doing.
Right.
And I mean, I call it exploitative. It's honestly like there comes a point you just can't live in your own country.
There comes a point where a man with no country is my, oh, let's just reenact my family history. Not a problem.
Well, there's that. There's that.
Right.
Oh my goodness. So yay. Well, in joyful news, Mystic signed a new computer or a
Well,
new client.
I'm
New
glad you
computer.
found a new computer and you have a new client.
New client. It's been a week.
It has.
Oh, yes, but so I'm excited about that.
Right.
So, yay. Got that done. It's
Google's
been
redone the newsfeed thing, which is nice. It should be easier. Notice I use that word, it's nice.
what now?
Google and its newsfeed.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
It's doing new things.
It is. You have
Ooh.
commercials in your box.
I know, right?
Yeah. The sun is up to researching CCR song Tombstone Shadow. Inspired by Bad Psyche from San Bernardino.
San Bernardino.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So CCR song Tombstone Shadow, inspired by Bad Psychic in San Bernardino. So yeah, Creedence Clearwater Revival played San Bernardino's Swing Auditorium twice in 1969. First in February as an opening act, second in September as the headliner, setting an attendance record at Swing a month after the band's performance at the Woodstock Festival. All in all, in just 7 months, the band's fortunes had rocketed upwards. A fortune teller in San Bernardino had predicted the opposite. Oops. Oh, we played the show in San Bernardino, and right across the street from our hotel was a fortune teller. John Fogerty, CCR's leader, wrote in his 2015 memoir, Fortunate Son, about the encounter. Before or after the band's February 1st, 1969 concert, Fogerty walked into the shop on a lark thinking he'd find an exotic medium like Maria Obspenska from the Wolfman. Instead, he found a man wearing a green bowling shirt. Fogerty, undeterred, paid the $5 fee. Okay, granted, 1969, that's probably high price.
That's good value. That's $20. Okay.
Yeah. The man examined Fogerty's palms and told him, "That's bad. You shouldn't fly in airplanes. That could put a crimp in a band's touring plans." Next, Fogerty cut a deck of cards. The fortune teller lifted up 2 cards, both red, a 7 and a 6. "You're going to have 13 months of bad luck," the fortune teller advised him. For this, he wanted $5. At Swing, the band whose recently released album Bayou Country had the hits Born on the Bayou and Proud Mary, opened for Canned Heat, appearing that a concert flyer called a double boogie happening at the Swing Auditorium. Can you dig it? The band hit it big as 1969 progressed. On August 3rd, CCR released another album, Green River, which has the songs Bad Moon Rising, Lodi, and a Fogerty pen track prized by aficionados, Tombstone Shadow. So yeah, the first verse, "Saw the gypsy man way down in San Bernardino, said, I saw the gypsy man way down in San Bernardino, $5 on the table. Oh, keep me away from my tomb." Oh.
Hey, any press is good press.
Not that. Not that. Not that.
See, here's my question. This was my thing, and this is my thing in general. One, I want to know, did he have any plane problems all of those 18 months? One. Two, how many planes did he take that time?
True.
Yeah.
True. I'm curious if there was anything that they changed. Right. Did he actually listen to anything that the guy said and this made a difference? Or was it just, I don't know. I mean, I think it happens. Just you get a really bad reading.
Well, and I think that this is indicative, your luck is different. Your bad luck is different than my bad luck. Mm-hmm. Your view of bad luck is God, 28 cities, on the bus, rackling your ass around.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, Brenda's got a question. So Aeson, a red 6 and 7. What do you say? 13 months bad luck?
See, that's the question here. There's not enough differentiation. A red 6 would be a heart or diamond, and a red 7 would be a heart or diamond.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm gonna have to go off camera a minute. I moved my pull box.
Oh no! Okay, cool. All right, so continuing on with the lovely story. So yeah, let me get back there. So the Sun Telegram took notice of Tombstone Shadow with a story headline, "They're singing about SB." First paragraph, "Move over San Jose, Kansas City, and Indianapolis. Now they're singing songs about San Bernardino. The city has joined the growing list of American cities that are getting a plug of one kind or another from the rock music field." Those would seem to be references to Do You Know the Way to San Jose, Kansas City, and Little Green Apples, respectively. On September 20th, a month after Woodstock, Creedence was back at Swing Auditorium, this time as the headliner. This time, I guess, it was a single boogie happening. I can thank Armando Castro for finding news coverage of the concert and posting clips in one of his nifty Tales from the IE videos on YouTube. The audience of 7,100 set a swing record for attendance. Some 2,000 teenagers milled around outside the venue after learning the show was sold out. Several trash cans were set on fire, and numerous arrests were made by officers, according to the Sun Telegram. The attendance record lasted until Jimi Hendrix's notorious June 1970 concert, which drew 7,300 and also involved the police who fired tear gas. So yeah, the Sun Telegram devoted an entire page to photos from the CCR concert, like a gathering of the tribes, and the accompanying story began. Young people from all over the Inland Empire poured into San Bernardino's Swing Auditorium Saturday night to revel in the heavy sounds of Creedence Clearwater Revival. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Now, I'm not defending this dude, but there's a debate. Okay, and here's the debate. Because Reds are either loving money. I'm trying to think why he would only use 2 cards. What was the fourth card? The third card.
One would think, yeah.
One would think.
Well, I mean, cartomancy. Is there a 2-card spread for cartomancy that people commonly use?
1, 3, 5, 9. You do odds.
Oh, well, okay. So what if it was 2 1-card readings?
Yeah, it's a possibility. Then here's what it is. And, all right, I'm not going to be nice to the box. I'm tired of that.
Okay.
Can I share this deck? Yes, I can share this deck. Sorry, guys. We have decks that I can't show on air.
True. Oh, God. Which one are you using?
Looks like an advertisement deck for Princeton.
What?
I grabbed the advertisement deck for Princeton we had in the game box because my poker deck's in the bottom of the bag over there.
Oh, wild. I didn't know I had a Princeton advertisement deck.
Yeah, like maybe we should charge them.
Mm.
So we're looking at for 6s and 7s, Reds.
Yep. And red. Yeah, the suits would help. I'm just thinking, though, it sets it up. It's only 4 possible cards. Right. And so they only have...
And the unknowing fifth.
Well, a potential unknown...
Right. We don't know what the third
card in the reading.
Right. So if you have a mix-up of like 6 and 7, like the 6 of hearts, your 7 of hearts, and then your 6 of hearts, well, yeah, your love's decreasing. You've gone from very complicated emotional love down to very simple friendship.
Okay.
Okay. Then you have the 6 of diamonds and the 7 of diamonds. The 6 of diamonds to the 7 of diamonds is an increase of money and wealth, but it also shows a thief.
Oh, Brenda's suggesting 1 card and pulled a clarifier?
That's not normal in a 1-card reading, but good possibility.
Okay.
Okay, so then you got to go and you got to reverse here. Well, we have to take the idea of the 7 of diamonds falling in with the 6 of hearts. Well, that's a cheating affair. The 7 to the 6, the 6 of diamonds to the 7 of hearts. That shows that there's more love than money going on, and that you're financially unstable.
Mm-hmm.
So it's that next card that he didn't cover in this article, and I don't think is covered in the song.
True. Well, it wasn't covered in the story. I don't think it covered it in the song at all, did it?
No, I'm pulling up.
Yeah, it was just mentioning Sam Berdue.
Right.
And the Gypsy Man.
Saw the Gypsy Man way down in San Bernardino. Said I saw the Gypsy Man way down in San Bernardino. $5 on the table. Ooh, keep me away from my tombstone. Oh. Said I had 13 months of bad luck. Bound to be some pain. Don't be traveling, flying in no machines. Tombstone shadows stretched across my path. Every time I got some good news, oh, the shadow is on my back. Uh-oh, the man gave me a lucky charm. Cost me $5. Said put this underneath your pillow and put some on your door. Okay, so there's some root charm going on there. He said, take a long vacation. Well, 13 months or more. Oh, Lord. Okay, cool. So there's some things we can put together in this song.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really reported in the article.
Okay.
Okay, the man gave me a lucky charm, cost me $5 more, said put this on your pillow and put some on your door. So, with that denoting that, we also have to then go and look at the tour. But so there's a counteractive occurring there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, and Brenda brings up numerology coming in there a 13, 6 and 7 is 13, so that's 13 years bad luck. I mean, 13 months bad luck.
Oh, and that might be the better question. What would be the difference, or would there be any, between pulling hearts or diamonds to get months versus years? Or would it just be the up to influence?
It would be up to influence.
Okay.
Okay.
Meanwhile, just a correction on the inflation rate between 1969 and 2023. That was not a $20 reading he had. That was a $41.10 reading with another $41.10 in a good luck charm.
Okay,
All for a total. Yeah, so that was the equivalent of an $82.20 reading today.
Damn, my prices suck.
Like, I'm just sitting there going, damn, $82 and something? Damn.
And I didn't even get credit in the song. Like, come on, dude.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Seriously. But then again, one could say that, like, that was all influenced by the good luck charm.
Yeah.
Like that, best $5 anyone ever spent.
Right.
Because it could just be CCR who?
Right. And, we got to look at CCR. They pull a lot of stuff. Like during that time, a lot of things happened with CCR.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm just saying, they've had a great career.
They've had a great career.
Holy effing shit, they've had a great career.
Right. So I just wonder, A, what was the storm? It's probably either Success Oil or Rue. Like, there's no comment of what the charm was. Like, they didn't even go by the charm.
I'm just saying, it would have been one of the best $5 ever spent. Well, $10 ever spent.
Right. But again, I think there's more to the story. I think that there's a good review of a reading. And yeah, it may have been a bad situation, and he set him up for a good situation. But we don't know, like, I personally don't know what happened after. I wonder if because CCR has a very dedicated fan base. Let's wonder if they actually done this. Okay, CCR for 1969. Here we go. Going backwards. 10 pages. 68. Like, they played a lot of the Fillmore in 68, 68, 68, 68, 68. All right, so in 69. Detroit, Michigan, Long Beach, California, San Francisco, San Jose. So they're all in California for a good bit there. New York. Back up another page. New Mexico, they went out to Detroit in June. They went to Cleveland, New York, Portland, Vancouver, Washington, Seattle, Washington.
Yeah, so they had to be on a few flights.
I don't know. I think they were on buses.
Really?
Really.
Okay.
The reason I say is they're all like they grouped them all together. Like they're hitting one stop after another. It's not like, well, I'm here, then I'm there. It's like, no, we're in, the whole month of May. They were in San Francisco. Then they went and they done the East Coast, and then they come back in the West Coast.
Ooh, that makes me wonder though.
Okay.
Sorry, I just had a realization.
Okay.
Yeah, that was 59. Okay. Sorry, the year has struck me for a second, and I was just a decade off.
Okay.
I had this horrible moment where I was like, oh God, could CCR have become like what happened to what's known as the day the music died?
Right.
That Buddy Holly, but no, that was 10 years before that.
Correct. But, I also believe. Oh, wow. So sometimes they even done double concerts. It's my opinion that, they could have been part of the 27 Club, which is a whole nother conspiracy theory.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So, was it a bad psychic reading, or was it a psychic reading that we really don't have all the details to? That's debatable. But either way, love was going down the toilet or money was getting stolen, one of the two. Now, I just wonder if CCR ever had an accounting problem.
Well, there is that. I don't know. Of course, then again, there's always the theory that like got different information, made different choices, ended up in a different place.
Exactly.
Like,
right. So let's move over to this professor that's fallen into the psychic conundrum.
all right. So, how a former Columbia professor fell deep into psychic pseudoscience.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we don't expect Ivy League researchers to start dabbling in pseudoscience, but it's more common than you might think. Okay. So Spiro Pantazatos doesn't seem to mind that his research interests lie off the beaten path. Quote, I've always been fascinated by research topics that don't tend to get a lot of attention or funding for whatever reason. If they're considered taboo, for instance, the clinical neurobiology researcher told the Daily Beast. For the most part, his citations would be considered par for the course for any scientist who studies the brain. His work includes a bevy of papers showing the brain's role in everything from depression to obesity. There's nothing peculiar about these avenues of research. It's well established that such links exist, even if the specifics are still being pieced together. But there are a few clues into Pantazatos' penchant for the unconventional. Take his 2014 paper published in the journal Neuroimage. Looking at birth dates and brain scans, Pantazatos related a person's birth season to specific differences in their brain structure and function when separated by sex. At the time, Wired called the results intriguing. The project sparked a more ambitious idea to validate these trends more thoroughly. Data sets of American patients do not contain birth dates since they're considered a form of protected health information under the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. But perhaps Panizatos thought he could source brain scans and personal information directly from volunteers, cut out the middlemen, he said. By 2021, Panizatos, then a faculty member at Columbia University, had set up the project with $10,000 in funding from NYC Media Lab, an accelerator for early stage media and technology startups. A new organization called Ions, based in Novato, California, had joined the research, helping recruit participants and guiding its direction. Called My Brain and Me, the project asked a range of survey questions from people who submitted their brain scans, including a specific set designed in collaboration with Ions. In a post titled Columbia University to Study the Neuroanatomy of Psychic Abilities, Ions described the newest goal of the project. There is an ever-growing body of evidence that psychic abilities like telepathy, psychokinesis, astral projection, and channeling are not only real, they're quite common, the post read. My Brain and Me would help answer the question of whether psychic experience could be mapped to certain regions of the brain. But there's a massive problem with this premise. Yale School of Medicine neurology researcher Stephen Novella told the Daily Beast it's completely not true. There is no growing body of evidence for any of these phenomena, Novella added. In fact, after 100 years of study, they've made no progress whatsoever. My Brain and Me meant that Panizatos had leapt from the unconventional to the outright controversial. The study of psychic abilities, often called psi or noetic sciences by its believers, and parapsychology or even simply pseudoscience by mainstream scientists, is undoubtedly a fringe topic. Yet its research, demonstrated by researchers like Panizatos and an organization like Ions, has moved off from the fringe. Experts told the Daily Beast that growing frustrations in scientific publishing and academic freedom got us here, and it will take a substantial reform of both systems to separate fact from fiction. My!
Yeah, it sounds like somebody isn't happy that there's growing evidence, and there's been growing evidence for quite a while. I'm glad we're starting to see them get back into the study of the brain and where everything kind of lays into it, and how it's effective and how it's effective differently. Because there were some studies in the late 50s about psychic brains and how they're different. There's also been some research on how certain combinations of lifestyle and food and how the pituitary gland interlinks with everything. It's a debatable situation there.
Okay.
Go on.
Oh. So, yeah, let me... sorry, I scrolled down a little bit just to see. So, yeah. Extraordinary claims. The founding focus of Ions, according to the nonprofit organization's website, is to reveal the interconnected nature of reality. This aim might appropriately be described as otherworldly. The late Apollo 14 astronaut Edgar Mitchell founded the Institute of Noetic Sciences in 1973, 2 years after he became the sixth man to walk on the moon. He described having an epiphany about universal interconnectedness and his spacecraft headed back to Earth, and would cite this experience as a major reason for starting Ions.
Mm-hmm. No, with this large subtle belief there that there was a alien encounter with Apollo 14, and also a large spiritual reckoning with Apollo 14. There's a lot of mystery around Apollo 14.
With this general goal in mind, the organization's priorities have significantly shifted in the past several decades. Ions Director of Research Helene Waba told the Daily Beast, its research arm, launched 2 decades ago, is a relatively new addition to Ions' broader programming of education and events, yet is taken over as one of the organization's marquee enterprises. From June 2020 to 21, research expenses totaled more than $760,000, nearly 20% of Ions' annual expenditures. An additional $100,000 research prize for work in the noetic sciences was announced on March 29th. So yeah, IONS really prides itself on being the trailblazer in front of the pack in terms of frontier science, Waba said. What exactly this area entails can span a range of experiences and extended human capacities, Waba said. Decades ago, IONS was a prominent supporter of mindfulness meditation when people in the West were skeptical of it. Today, the Institute invites people to share specific and remarkable experiences they have had, like telepathy, precognition, and clairvoyance. It's the organization's parapsychological endeavors that elicit real criticism from its skeptics today. IONS recruits participants for research studies, rating photos to be used in a remote viewing study, or teaming up with a partner who could be miles away and guessing if you're both viewing the same photograph. Panizzado's study is highlighted on the website too. Waba said the research question that IONS is most interested in is whether specific brain regions can be linked to any of over a dozen different noetic experiences. So yeah.
Yeah, I really hope they're studying the pineal gland.
Oh, I'm sure they are.
Yeah.
Like, as in, I think it's wide open.
Yeah.
Just to try to see if, okay, is this all from one area of the brain, one general area of the brain, one specific spot in the brain,
Right.
or is it interconnected with other parts of the brain?
Right.
Like this and this make this and this make that.
Right. Let's take a look and see what the current experiments are. Ionics versus protozoo binary, optimal differences, gut-brain telepathia, channeling blended mediumship. Interesting. That sounds like that sounds like a project I know we need to send Natalie over to.
Oh.
Meditation, PSI, and synchronicity. Golfer's alternate use of task. The effect of visual reality instruction AE. Meta for Blendo. Big C connection. Channeling remote viewing database. Channeling physical mediumship research project. Noetic signature characteristics. That one is a channeling one. It's seeing if there are neurological characteristics to channelers. The healing lucid dream study, which is an interesting study if you want to take time to go through and read that. Let's go ahead and just drop the site. Let me grab that. Like, if you're into reading research papers, over your coffee, here you go.
Hey, there you go.
There you are. It went out. That's lovely. I love it when they actually do that. I will also put this in the show notes.
Yay!
Yeah.
Show notes.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we're going to be talking with some of the stuff we've been playing up to, because, of course, we're going through the spring reset. And some discussion we got into yesterday.
Okay.
Okay.
Hi, this is Sandy Starr. I'm a psychic and I work on Keen, and I have been working on Keen for over 22 years. You can reach me on 01068. I deal with a myriad of subjects, but I do specialize in relationships, marriages, divorces, is he cheating, is she cheating, whatever the dynamic of the relationship is, I will guide you through. I've got amazing radar for cheaters, so I will tell you the truth if he or she is cheating. I can help with any subject you need me to help you with besides relationships, and I look forward to hearing from you. Again, you can reach me through Keen. My extension number is 01068. I really look forward to hearing from you and helping you with whatever you need me to help you with.
Hi, I'm Tracy Van. I'm a psychic medium and I work with tarot cards. I also practice Reiki and access bars. I would like to share with you what a reading with me is like. It is a blended reading of psychic and mediumship. And I deliver these messages exactly as they come through. I'm not going to mince words or add any padding. I am a professional, reliable, and honest communicator. I have readings available anywhere from 15 minutes to an hour. You can book a reading with me at tracyvann.com. That's TracyVann.com. And no, I'll always tell you exactly what you need to hear.
Hey everybody, Natalie here from The Pendulum's Path. If you are in need of guidance, direction, spiritual connection, healing, or more, you have come to the right place. I have worked as a psychic and a medium for over 3 years, connecting people from all over the world with their loved ones, giving them insight and guidance into their current situations, their past healings, their blockages, and what they need to know in order for them to have a better future. It would be my absolute honor if you would come to my website at www.thependulumspath.com. Visit my shop. I have a whole bunch of crystals, oils, balms, mystery boxes, and more. And visit my services. I offer 15-minute, 30-minute, and 60-minute sessions. I also have email readings available. If you're not comfortable with the one-on-one session with me, or if you just want to try me out, I encourage you to come visit me at the Pendulum's Path, and let's get you back on the right track today.
Hey everybody, Lady Gwendolyn here from Rowan Temple of Light, and I'm here to tell you about our events this summer. First up is Beltane in the Hills, May 13th, and that is from 1 to 6. We have entertainment, we have a bunch of vendors, we have a fairy photo shoot. It's going to be exciting. You having any questions, reach out to Earth Magic or to myself. After that, we have Central West Virginia Pagan Pride, August 19th. That's at Holly Gray Park from 11 to 5 for the day. And we will have Sarah Masters coming down from Pittsburgh to be our keynote speaker. We have some great classes for that. So if you want to get involved, reach out to Rowan Temple of Light at Gmail, or just follow us along on Facebook at Rowan Temple of Light, and we look forward to seeing you out in the community. See you there.
All right, welcome back. So, you guys haven't noticed, we've talked a while here about morning routines and the importance of them, some of the science coming out. One of the new concepts we're looking at is sleep inertia. What's your thoughts, kind of fill them in on what we've been talking about and, what you've seen?
So, all right. So sleep inertia, actually that one specifically came from Mel Robbins. And it's her general idea that if you are struggling every morning with resetting your alarm, you're effectively pushing yourself back into a sleep cycle that you're then immediately disrupting. So if your alarm goes off at, say, 7 a.m. and you don't get up, but instead you go, I want 9 more minutes, 5 more minutes, 7 more minutes, whatever, and snooze, you're then in turn restarting a sleep cycle that you then interrupt. And if you continue to do this, it gets worse and worse because you're just compounding the issue. And effectively, you are taking away from your morning and setting the tone for your day as tired, exhausted, and not ready to get anything done.
And there's a lot of research behind this theory that it takes like 4 hours for you to get, out of that process, because it is a process of going to sleep and sleep cycles and calculating sleep rhythms. And there's some cool apps out there now that you can basically calculate how long you need to sleep.
Yeah. I think I would point out this is a little different than if you have a habit of sleeping through alarms.
Right.
Though it has some similarity. In the sense of, if you're not getting enough sleep and you are sleeping through your alarms and you're having to set multiple alarms to be able to get up, that does create its own issues.
Right.
And I will say I am a multi-alarm setter just because I have a tendency to sleep through my alarms. And it usually is because I'm not getting enough sleep.
Right.
Because we have, unfortunate days where, I end up having to run really late in the night.
Mm-hmm.
And then unfortunately, like I've got to be on the road
Mm-hmm.
and go to Princeton. And so I've got to get up bright and early.
Right.
And yeah, so I reflexively set multiple alarms, like
Yeah.
just in case. 9 times out of 10, I'm going to wake up on the first one. Usually the second one. If I do go over the first one, the third one, I'm almost always awake for.
Right.
Typically, if I hit the third one, it's real bad.
Right, and that's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is that the brain can literally get trapped into like a cycle.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Of trying to wake up from a sleep cycle, and that sleep cycle wake up process,
mm-hmm,
when interrupted, takes a few hours.
it does. And we were talking about this last night, and I want to go into this too about bifurcated sleep
Mm-hmm.
and how that is actually a thing.
It is. There's actually it's really strange. You start digging into nobility,
Mm-hmm.
is where you start seeing some of the first like reports of it. And the reason that was so was because it had so much to do with the running of the royal household. That if someone was not in bed by X time, slept an extended period, and then up, and it was part of your more traditional, normal, seeming common 8 hours roughly at night sleep cycle, then that household had to be prepared for that and had to make adjustments to whatever sleep cycle that royal or affluent or rich person had,
Right.
in terms of staffing and making sure someone's available if, for instance, they sleep for a few hours, then get up and want a sandwich and play cards till 5 in the morning, and then go back to sleep for a couple of hours and get back up.
Right.
And so when we're talking bifurcated, bi meaning two and furcated meaning divisions,
Mm-hmm.
that's what we're talking about, is sleep divided in two.
Right.
So yeah, and there's other versions. It doesn't just have to be sleep divided in two. Some people have like 3-part sleep. There's a lot of different versions of that.
Right.
And typically where it got notoriety was, or became worth noting, was when it did require staffing concern.
Right.
That you're going to have to provide something, do something, be available for something. Some royals would host, like parties and get-togethers and events during those late hours.
Mm-hmm.
For some it was sometimes it wasn't all that, so to speak, big of a deal. It was just kind of like they got normal night's sleep plus a nap.
Mm-hmm.
But it was still noteworthy to how the household ran.
Right.
Sometimes it was in a sense of like they didn't go to sleep until like 4 or 5 in the morning. Got up in the afternoon, did their royal official business, and then their end of business day was at a particular time. They got a 1-hour nap, and then they partied all night till that 5 in the morning.
Right.
So that requires some differences in how a household runs and what people are needed and when they're needed.
Right. And somehow around the revolution of adding electricity to our lives, and then moving out of that into the industrial revolution,
Well, yeah, more so the Industrial Revolution is where this all became important to know and
Right.
talk about when people slept.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of knowing how, like trying to determine how much sleep, humans need so that we can set shifts for business and ensure that people have enough sleep to be able to work the next day. It also went on to influence a lot of like our blue laws in
Mm-hmm.
terms of alcohol purchase so people could be sober for the next day at work, so that they had a period of time in which they could not purchase alcohol, could get good rest, and be ready for Monday morning. It really ended up becoming a thing that previously no one cared.
Right.
It wasn't important if you were a common person, you lived in your little hut,
Mm-hmm.
and you had your nice little agrarian life. You had some livestock and a few acres of land. Did anyone really care
Right.
when you slept? Or you had your little hovel in the woods, and you shot game and sourced berries and had a little side garden and did some canning and whatever. Again, no one cared.
Right.
You slept when you slept, you lived how you lived, you did what you did,
Right.
and no one really wrote about it. And then we move into that industrial age, and suddenly we literally had to care.
Right.
And start trying to answer some of the questions of how much sleep does a human being need, when do they need to sleep, is it possible to run a business 24/7 in shift work, what problems is that going to create. And so that's where we move into this industrial age and the beginning of trying to understand sleep
Mm-hmm.
and what its effects are and what sleep deprivation does and what shift work does, so that we could ultimately, the whole point was to be good little workers.
Right. And they're finding like as you age, your sleep cycle changes.
Mhm.
It's a well-known fact that older people wake up earlier.
Or later. That's a weird thing that happens too.
Right.
That was kind of a notable thing with my father.
Mm-hmm.
He worked construction, woke up every morning at 4 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't matter if it was his day off or not, or
Right.
days off or not, if he was on vacation or not,
Right.
he woke up at 4 a.m.
Right.
So it became notable
Right.
when that suddenly shifted 5 hours
Right.
and he started waking up at 9.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it was just a random thing that occurred.
Right.
Because I clearly remember, after he first retired and like I'd gone to college, him calling and talking to me about he got up every morning, got a shower, went to Walmart
Mm-hmm.
because it's the only thing open.
Mm-hmm.
And he basically walked around and bought his Tic Tacs because he had a thing for Tic Tacs. Especially when they had the little stopwatch in there. He really loved Tic Tacs when they had the stopwatch in the big giant package. He bought one every day,
Mm-hmm.
which is a lot of Tic Tacs, let me tell you, and a lot of stopwatches. He filled up a whole grocery bag
Mm-hmm.
with those little tiny stopwatches. Like they're not that big.
Wow.
Yeah. So it became a thing. But this is what he did every morning for
Right.
something to do.
Right.
Until the rest of the world woke up and he could do something else.
Mm-hmm.
Because he got tired of watching the news and sports and daytime talk television and all that.
Right.
So
Get bored.
he got bored.
Yeah.
So, and then all of a sudden he quit doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And for the first time ever, I called him at it was probably like 8 in the morning. Like I'd gotten to work or something and needed to call him about something and woke him up.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, are you okay? Are you sick? What's wrong? I'm fine. I was sleeping.
Right.
Okay, I'll call you back later. So I called him back later and I was like, what was that this morning? Are you okay? He's like, I don't know. I started sleeping till 9 now.
Mm-hmm.
That was just a thing.
Right.
Started staying up later at night and getting up later in the morning. And I was
Right.
like, that just became a thing.
Right.
So it was a pretty big shift. He used to go to bed around 9 or 10 p.m. and get up at 4.
Mm-hmm.
And that shifted to he was staying up till like 1 and 2
Right.
and getting up at 9.
Right. But the editor-in-chief of the Huffington Post has a lovely book out on sleep and the importance of it and how your brain plays into it, and like why naps are technically important for the human race, even if it's just 15 minutes.
Oh, naps are important for the human race. Sorry, I thought you said gnats. I was like, what are gnats doing for us?
Naps.
Naps are doing great things for us.
Yes.
I don't know. I think at some point we may have had bad sleep science around the Industrial Revolution, and we might not have gotten all the right answers.
Right.
Because I've always found it interesting that we keep talking in terms of the like optimal holy grail is 8 hours a night of sleep.
Right.
Yet no one gets it.
Right.
Like, I don't know anyone that gets it. It's everyone's either shorter,
right,
or a whole lot longer.
Right. But her book, which is a lovely book, I highly recommend it, especially if you're trying to figure out why your sleep is not your sleep anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Go check it out. The Science of Sleep Doesn't Lie. Well-rested workers are better employees. The lack of sleep accounts for 11.3 days worth of loss of productivity in each calendar year. That works out to the equivalent of $2,280 being wasted.
This is interesting.
Okay.
So yeah, the part of because you sent the HuffPost article. So according to Partha Sarathi, if you struggle with this issue, you should ignore the advice to put away the screens and instead expose yourself to bright light in the late evening. This can mean going for a walk outside before the sun sets, reading a book on a bright iPad, getting artificial lights for your home, or watching TV on a bright screen. These bright lights will tell the brain that the sun hasn't set yet, which will hold the melatonin production, he said, to help yourself stay up a little later and sleep a little later as a result. So yeah.
Right.
So for those of you struggling with that late afternoon, late evening, like it's too early to actually go to bed, or you're getting up really early in the morning.
Right.
Bright light. Push the bright lights.
Right. But I'm looking for her book in my Kindle because I've referred to it here lately because we've been playing with my sleep pattern and how it affects my pain level. And basically, my functionality. But I can't listen to it if you're asleep because you have problems with that.
Well, I do. Like my sleep has always been like my sleep conditioning was to a very quiet household.
Right.
Like in the dark, like no noise, or just as little as possible.
Right.
Maybe some like street noise or like city noise.
Right.
So to speak. Not that I grew up in a big city, but a little bit of city noise.
Well, yeah. Ariana Huffington reads it. This is the book that you searched the house for one of our baristas at.
I did search the house for my sister because lo and behold, apparently through the wall of another room on a Echo Dot, Ariana Huffington and my sister sound a lot alike.
Yeah,
and it was very confusing.
Yeah, but it's called The Sleep Revolution. It covers all the sciences of sleep. She has a new book out called Thrive. I've not gotten it yet. I will probably get it because I liked Sleep Revolution. She's a really good author.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I use a lot of headphones. I wear a lot of headphones in my office for multiple reasons.
Yep, but not in bed.
No, not in bed. And I don't listen to music in bed anymore. All right, so you got tech in the news.
Oh, I got tech in the news.
Yes, on a
So yeah,
story we've been
Microsoft
following.
quiet. Pardon?
On a story we've been following.
Oh yeah, so Microsoft quietly supported legislation to make it easier to fix devices. Here's why that's a big deal. So, and major tech companies have long opposed the right to repair, but Microsoft is finally engaging with lawmakers and activists. So, in March, Irene Plenifish, a senior director of government affairs at Microsoft, sent an email to the 8 members of the Washington State Senate's Environment, Energy, and Technology Committee, which was about to hold a hearing to discuss a bill intended to facilitate the repair of consumer electronics. Typically, when consumer tech companies reach out to lawmakers concerning right to repair bills, which seek to make it easier for people to fix their devices, thus saving money and reducing electronic waste, it's because they want them killed. Plenifish, however, wanted the committee to know that Microsoft, which is headquartered in Redmond, Washington, was on board with this one, which had already passed the Washington House. Quote, I'm writing to state Microsoft support for E2SHB 1392, also known as the Fair Repair Act, Plenifish wrote in an email to the committee. This bill fairly balances the interests of manufacturers, customers, and independent repair shops, and in doing so will provide more options for consumer device repair. The Fair Repair Act stalled out a week later due to oppositions from all 3 Republicans on the committee and Senator Lisa Wellman, a Democrat and former Apple executive. Apple frequently lobbies against right to repair bills, and during a hearing, Wellman defended the iPhone maker's position that it is already doing enough on repair. But despite the bill's failure to launch this year, repair advocates say Microsoft's support, a notable first for a major U.S. tech company, is bringing other manufacturers to the table to negotiate the details of other right to repair bills for the first time. We are in the middle of more conversations with manufacturers being way more cooperative than before, Nathan Proctor, who heads the U.S. Public Research Interest Group Right to Repair campaign, told Grist. And I think Microsoft's leadership and willingness to be first created that opportunity. So across a wide range of sectors, from consumer electronics to farm equipment, manufacturers attempt to monopolize repair of their devices by restricting access to spare parts, repair tools, and technical documentation. While manufacturers often claim that controlling the repair process limits cybersecurity and safety risks, they also financially benefit when consumers are forced to take their devices back to the manufacturer or upgrade due to limited repair options. Right to repair bills would compel manufacturers to make spare parts and information available to everyone. Proponents argue that making repair more accessible will allow consumers to use older products for longer, saving them money and reducing the environmental impact of technology, including both electronic waste and the carbon emissions associated with manufacturing new products. But despite dozens of state legislatures taking up right to repair bills in recent years, very few of those bills have passed due to staunch opposition from device makers and the trade associations representing them. New York State passed the first electronics right to repair law in the country last year, but before the governor signed it, tech lobbyists convinced her to water it down through a series of revisions. Like other consumer tech giants, Microsoft has historically fought right to repair bills while restricting access to spare parts, tools, and repair documentation to its network of authorized repair partners. In 2019, the company even helped kill a repair bill in Washington state. But in recent years, the company has started changing its tune on the issue. In 2021, following pressure from shareholders, Microsoft agreed to take steps to facilitate the repair of its devices, a first for a U.S. company. Microsoft followed through on the agreement by expanding access to spare parts and service tools, including through a partnership with the repair guide site iFixit. The tech giant also commissioned a study that found repairing Microsoft products instead of replacing them can dramatically reduce both waste and carbon emissions. So I know where the rest of this article is going to go, and it's going to get a little more detailed. Quite frankly, here's the deal. So right to repair, and we mostly talk about this in terms of computers and cell phones and other electronic devices. It really is important to note, however, the definition of a computer has changed a lot from a personal electronics device that you would set up in a home to send email, play games, do expense reports, your PC ad of the 90s, to also include our vehicles, to also include any number of small consumer electronics that are now computer operated or have electronic computer components built into them versus being purely mechanical or so to speak analog. These are now digital devices, and it does present a large problem that we keep, and many manufacturers keep talking about this in terms of like repairing your home computer or just repairing your cell phone. We're now even talking about your ability as a farmer to repair your tractor.
Right.
Because it is covered under a license agreement. Like effectively, you don't buy the tractor, you buy the right to use the tractor, is the big argument that companies like John Deere are making.
Right.
And that they can literally disable your tractor if you attempt to modify it in any way.
Right.
Or if you attempt to repair it without taking it to an authorized repair center. Now, all this would sound great because you hear the words authorized repair center, and for many years, that meant that this is someone who knew what they were doing.
Right.
Unfortunately, what that morphed into wasn't just the ability to, like an exclusive agreement to be able to access parts after demonstrating the ability.
Right.
It more so became a very controlling document and partnership for companies to become an authorized repairer.
Right.
So part of what that agreement can often include is actually denying the ability to repair a device based on whatever whim a company has. So if you're an Apple authorized repair shop, if you're an iCare authorized repair, you can literally be limited to not being able to replace a screen because the device is a couple of years old. You can literally be denied access to parts. You can be threatened with loss of your status as an authorized repair for using unauthorized parts, as in those not directly purchased through that agreement. So it very much locks many of those shops into only being able to fix devices that the company says they can fix, only with the parts that they can buy from them, which often increases the cost of repair, and then controls what situations are deemed repairable.
Right.
Now, companies argue that this is for, Apple especially has been pretty egregious in the right to repair situation. That's why I find it interesting that Washington has someone from Apple on their board.
Right.
Or chairing that committee. Though it makes sense in a different sense.
Right.
Because Apple has been particularly aggressive in doing things to prevent repair.
Right.
To make it hard to get a hold of parts, such as if you have remanufactured components that have left the US and are imported back in, Apple will actually claim not that the parts are counterfeit, but through counterfeit legislation, they will actually block the import of those products because each of those products is stamped with an Apple logo.
Mm-hmm.
And they make the argument that they are not new,
Mm-hmm.
and therefore they are counterfeit.
Right.
Because they're not, ordered by Apple, from Apple, for Apple,
Right.
to be used by Apple.
Right. Well, this is what always has gotten me, and we're seeing more of this now of dealerships having dealership-only parts. Wonder if this law would affect this.
There's a strong argument that it can.
Okay.
Car manufacturers again are falling into the same scenario. Much of our cars are now computer based. We have a lot fewer mechanical parts that are directly mechanical.
Right.
As in, long gone are the days of the carburetor. We now use computer controlled fuel injection, for instance. Newer transmissions are a host of sensors to make that transmission work. None of these are directly mechanical systems.
Right.
And yes, a lot of vehicle manufacturers are very hesitant
Mm-hmm.
in their arrangements with dealerships
Right.
to do anything that would prevent a repair through the dealership.
Right.
So they're very encouraging.
Right.
Of these dealerships making money through their service departments by only selling some parts directly to dealerships, and good luck on getting at least new parts or non-remanufactured or direct from the manufacturer parts.
Right.
You have to look aftermarket.
$40,000 for a vehicle, and you technically don't own it.
No, and that's a big part of right to repair and computers is this extension of the idea of you don't own the vehicle, you own a license to use the vehicle that is revocable. Tesla's gotten in major trouble for this.
Right.
At least with their consumer market, for being one of the first to actually lock owners out of their vehicle and make it undrivable.
Right.
And can occur in situations as simple as you taking multiple crash Teslas and creating a parts bucket special of non-related components to build a working vehicle. So the battery from one car, the motor from another, the seats from another, this et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Tesla will sit there and potentially invalidate your car.
Right.
They will refuse you the right to charge it.
They
will refuse you the ability to drive it.
Right.
They will refuse the ability for you to boot the computer system. They will literally lock you out of that vehicle because it is a violation of their terms of service.
Right. Which is ridiculous.
Which is mentally one of those things. It's like, how much longer until we get to the point that this is completely part of our normal idea of, because we already have Tesla getting away with it. How long till this becomes mainstream?
Well, that's
how long till the computers get to the point they can literally disable your computer and this is deemed normal. Or disable your car, and this is normal. Now, in other areas, part of right to repair is also becoming very intrigued with TV manufacturers, one in particular, and I believe that's Sony or Samsung, I can't not remember which, actually has programmed in a kill switch. So here's what happens. If you ever, because we've grown into the age of the network attached television,
Mm-hmm.
your TV is a smart TV and it attaches to a Wi-Fi or wired network to get data for streaming services.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now part of that operating system, a company can,
Mm-hmm.
at least one can, institute a kill switch in their code.
Mm-hmm.
So if this television is ever connected to a network, which quite frankly, if you have a smart TV, it's rare to use it without doing so. It automatically connects to a database.
Mm-hmm.
And if it finds itself in that database, it runs a kill procedure, which completely destroys the television. Not in a blows up and splatters components all over your living room, but it will never turn on and work again.
Wow. All right. Well, let's take a break, and we'll be right back, and we'll just find out if you're an asshole.
All right.
Hey everybody, Lady Gwendolyn here from Rowan Temple of Light, and I'm here to tell you about our events this summer. First up is Beltane in the Hills, May 13th, and that is from 1 to 6. We have entertainment, we have a bunch of vendors, we have a fairy photo shoot. It's going to be exciting. You having any questions, reach out to Earth Magic or to myself. After that, we have Central West Virginia Pagan Pride, August 19th. That's at Holly Gray Park from 11 to 5 for the day. And we will have Sarah Masters coming down from Pittsburgh to be our keynote speaker. We have some great classes for that. So if you want to get involved, reach out to Rowan Temple of Light at Gmail, or just follow us along on Facebook at Rowan Temple of Light, and we look forward to seeing you out in the community. See you there.
Welcome back, Goblins! My name is Jason, and I am the host of the Esoteric Book Club, a podcast that examines titles on the magical, paranormal, the mysterious, and the strange. I release 2 episodes a month in which I review books on esoteric topics, recap news of the weird, and conduct interviews with authors, practitioners, and experiencers. The Esoteric Book Club can be found on every major podcast service or can be streamed directly from esotericbookclub.org.
Hi, I'm Aeson Knight. I provide tarot readings covering everything from love and relationships to your life questions and your most spiritual answers. And also, I provide a lot of guidance in finances and divorces and all those relationship problems. So, if you'd like to get a reading from me privately, not on air, you can feel free to do so by visiting aesonknight.com and booking your appointment. I also provide on-demand services, so if your life is a little chaotic, you can go ahead and click that call now button there on my site. It'll connect you to Keen, and if you've not been with Keen before, you'll get 3 free minutes to talk with me, so that's great for a quick answer question. All right, guys, back to the show. Enjoy. Bye, y'all.
Hi, I'm Tracy Van. I provide a blended reading consisting of mediumship, psychic, and tarot cards. A reading from me can cover any guidance you need from relationships with your partner or your family, spiritual, financial, any questions you may need clarity on. If you would like to book an appointment with me, check out my website, tracyvann.com. That's TRACYVANN.com. I have bookings from 15 to 60 minutes you may choose from. That helps if you just have a quick question, need an answer, or if you're looking for a reading in more depth, I'm here to provide the guidance and clarity for you. Let's just figure it out. Bye.
All right, welcome back. Okay, plead your case.
Am I the asshole for charging someone more than usual for cupcakes and saying I'm not running a charity? I, 26, have a small business baking cakes and cupcakes. It's not my primary job. My customers are mostly family and friends, but it's something I'm good at and enjoy doing. It depends on the size, but since I can't do commercial quantities, my time frame to place orders is at least 2 weeks in advance. So a couple of weeks ago, a mutual friend, Liv, 29, reached out asking if I could make some cupcakes for her daughter's 3rd birthday. She gave an outline of what she wanted, and it's something I can do, so I said sure. Difference is, she wanted them in a week. Liv said there's a lot going on for her right now, and she decided to give her daughter a surprise and doesn't have time to make cupcakes too, so the late order. I had spare time that week, so I said I could make them. The cost I gave her was more than what I'd normally charge, but Liv started saying how it's too much and asked if I could bring it down. I said no, because this is a late order. She made some excuse about how she understands that and she's happy to pay more, but not this much. Liv kept insisting, so I got kind of annoyed and told her I'm not running a charity. She can afford it. If she can't, she doesn't have to order them from me. Liz gave a pretty snarky reply to that, got pissed, didn't end up placing an order. I then saw from a friend's Instagram she made some posts on her stories, which I'll admit irked me. I do have a couple people telling me I was way upcharging and was rude to her in my replies. I don't think I was, so am I the asshole?
No, if that's your policy.
Here's the thing, though. I think there's always a balance between trying to tell a customer no
Mm-hmm.
and standing firm on price and being, not letting a customer show up late
Mm-hmm.
and then ask for a discount.
Right.
Because one, let's just cover in terms of small business, that's rude.
Right.
This is really rude.
Right.
To expect to show up outside of parameter,
Right.
and then to also get a discount for it,
Right.
or to pay normal price for it.
Right.
Good, cheap, and fast. You only get 2.
Right.
So good and fast, not cheap and fast.
Right. And this is one that I face a good bit of time.
Mm-hmm.
One, my appointments range and are very tight. I have 2 sets of appointment books running. One is over on Modern and Spiritual, and it's dedicated times of Modern and Spiritual. One is my private work, and it's dedicated over there. There's a definite upcharge because there's more, there's more fees and stuff that I have to pay over on Modern and Spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at that, my rate comparative to like my on-demand rate, it's a way out, there's a cheaper rate for booking an appointment with me.
Mm-hmm.
And if you book it on my site, aesonknight.com, and you book it in advance, because you have to book within 3 hours,
Mm-hmm.
it is the cheaper option than on demand,
Right.
or, going to Modern Spiritual and booking there. But if you look at my network prices, they're what the networks charge.
Yeah, you're getting you when he's on network and you're paying for on demand.
Mm-hmm.
You're also paying a premium for the service
Mm-hmm.
that runs that network.
Right.
Because they take a sizable chunk
Right.
of that per minute that you would otherwise think that he makes. Like they a good chunk.
Right.
And
Business runs on a 2 week in advance order.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that hard. She's making a business decision that, I can do that order, but it's going to take up some time. It's out of my policy time. This is what that time was dedicated to. Like, let's say it was dedicated to her going to her son's soccer game. Well, what's the cost of that?
Well, or even if it's just sitting on her couch.
Right.
Because part of running, and especially running a business secondary, like this is a side hustle.
Right.
And part of the running a side hustle is that requires some balance of your full-time job.
Right.
And your general life. And when you cannot, get the time you need to prep for that,
Right.
it has a cost. It has value to sit there and go, well, I had planned to do this,
Mm-hmm.
but instead I'm going to be doing this.
Right.
I have to rearrange this on short notice.
Right.
I have to get, a babysitter. I have to, eat out that night. I have to do something.
Right.
Potentially.
Right.
Or I simply lose the ability to enjoy my time
Right.
on last minute notice.
Right.
That has value.
Right.
Don't
And
cheap
it's an
yourself on that.
unusual order. Normally she charges $45. She quoted $85. And baking takes a lot, especially if you're doing, if you're processing your own fondant, you're processing your own colors, you're processing all that. That's additional time.
Well, yeah, it's
There's
work.
upcharges to all that. So she quoted 85. She quoted 85, and she normally charges 45. She
Right.
doubled the price.
Right,
But
and
it's
there's
half the time.
it's worth noting those prices are in Canadian dollars.
Right.
So her normal price is 45 Canadian, which I think would be probably like 23 US. And she upcharged it to 85 Canadian, which will probably be about 84 US. Or excuse me, 44 US.
33 US.
Uh-huh.
And she upped it to 62 US.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's reasonable. Depending upon the size of the order.
Right.
Like, if you're talking about like 12 little cupcakes, that would hurt. Unless you're talking about some of the cupcake cakes,
Mm-hmm.
then it's like, girl, you cheap.
Well, she wanted 12 cupcakes for the type she wanted as an unusual order. With my time frame, it would have been, if she had done it into the 2-week block, so she had time to make the products, let them go through. She went for 85.
Okay.
Yeah, I love digging in and looking at why she made this decision.
Oh, yeah. Well, and I think for any business, you're worth what you're worth, and if you have the ability,
right.
And I'm not saying just take advantage of people. I'm saying if you have the ability to do something special and extra and go an extra mile, no, there's a fair expectation that I'm helping you out of a bind.
Right.
Like you waited to the last minute. Good luck.
Right.
That's, I mean, on some level, that's like the bridezilla that shows up a week before the wedding, wanting a 5-tier handmade cake,
right,
with all the trimmings and extras,
right,
and wants it by Friday,
right,
and it's like are you crazy?
Right.
You can't even begin to get that.
Right. I just wonder.
Like, that's cute.
I just wonder. What is it? American Baker?
Okay.
Cake balls.
Like, that's one of those things about weddings I find interesting is that, like, some of the support services, when you start digging into it, like, you cannot plan a wedding in a couple of weeks.
Right.
Like, no, you cannot throw a full-on wedding in a couple of weeks. Unless you want to pay some money, a lot of money, because you have to pull people from other things. Like, they have to cancel contracts or, move people out of venues, do something to accommodate you.
Well, we all know the cake balls.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking to see how much his cakes are.
And what their lead time is.
Right.
Well, now let's see if we can compare apples and apples. Do they do just straight cupcakes?
Yes, they do a vanilla cupcake 18 pack, and they. Uh, so an 18 pack of just straight vanilla cupcakes, nothing special. There's just icing, and all that is $40.
Okay, so that's not even a special order. That's just
Right.
a regular order. And
Right.
what's their lead time?
Their lead time is Monday through Friday of each week. They're saying that I could have it by the 5th if I order in the next 5 minutes. Now,
They have a staff.
they have a staff.
That's a commercial bakery. They full-time bake.
Right.
And it's still a few days lead time.
Right.
I don't think it's unreasonable to expect someone working their business as a side hustle to need additional time.
Yeah, they're not in a commercial kitchen. It's not being flown into you. And it's $19 extra.
Yeah. That's not a severe upcharge. Like,
so,
take my $20, please.
Yeah, it's 20 for national shipping. It's shipping delay. We do not offer refunds for shipping delays due to our shipping partner, due to weather, mechanical error, national disaster, blah blah blah. Order change request. They do not make order change request.
Okay.
Even if you go to their store, you're looking at an $85 order. Basically. With everything. And this is a straight vanilla cupcake with vanilla icing and sprinkles.
Ooh.
Okay, this is not the specialty order that she wanted.
Right. Like, there's no customization of it. This is your basics.
Yeah, this is the
it's $85.
Turn out 300 of them at a time.
Yeah.
Right. So the poll is up on Aeson Knight's YouTube. Feel free to vote. Who's the asshole here?
All right.
Is OP the asshole, or is the person the asshole? Okay. So let's head over for relationship advice.
All right. So anxiety about the transition from the honeymoon phase in a long-term relationship. 18 female, 19 male. Hey, I've been in a relationship for 3 years now, and I'm seeking some guidance from others in a long-term relationship. My boyfriend and I had a pretty long honeymoon phase. I love him with all my heart then and now, and he's my absolute best friend. We've built a super healthy relationship, which definitely took some work. I am a very anxious person, and I recently noticed that our honeymoon phase is over. I no longer have crazy and intense butterflies. I don't miss him every second like I used to, and other stuff like that. I'm super comfortable with him now. He's my safe place and my partner, but this has been making me overthink. Like, what if this isn't how it's supposed to be? What if it's not okay that I'm feeling this way? What if our love/spark is just dead? This transition has caused me a lot of heartache because I think I may be overthinking it. I keep feeling like I have to break up with him because I'm no longer feeling the way I used to. The fear of breaking up is still very real, though, and I really don't want that at all. But I was wondering if this anxiety is something that is normal, or if this speaks to something much more troubling. Has anyone else experienced this anxiety? And if yes, how did you know it was just anxiety and not a sign you were in the wrong relationship? How did you manage it? I would also like to add that I have communicated my feelings with my boyfriend, and he's been totally understanding and supportive. His reassurance has helped to some extent, but for some reason, I cannot shake this anxiety.
Well, relationship feelings in general. This honeymoon phase is cute. It happens in every relationship, but then you have to get into the work of building the relationship. of communicating, of going deeper. But what's your thoughts on that?
Well, I think there's a term she needs to learn
Uh-huh.
called new relationship energy, and you had a very long version of that. And you were calling it a honeymoon phase. And that wanes, and that's normal. It doesn't mean you're in a bad relationship or the wrong relationship or that you need to change relationships unless you truly cannot stand being out of new NRE. It does mean that this is the next phase of your relationship. And that no, you're not going to have all those little butterflies and all those little feelings that you used to have. And in some ways, that's a good thing.
Right.
Mostly because while you're having anxiety now, some of that was also anxiety that you were having before, masking as, intense feeling.
Right.
Because those are typically also associated with, fear of loss of the relationship.
Right.
You weren't yet comfortable enough for the butterflies to go away. You weren't yet comfortable enough to not be okay that he's going to come back.
Right.
So now you're in the next phase of your relationship that, no, you don't have those things going on. You are comfortable. You are dead on right. You are very comfortable.
Right.
And that's a good thing.
Yeah. And that's a normal thing. And love wanes. That's why it's important that you at least have a friendship with the person, because there will be times that you will be head over heels and he's just the most amazing person in the world. And then there are days that you just want to murder him. Like, you wake up and he's got drool on the side of his face and his cute little behaviors of yesteryear now annoy the living fuck out of you. Like throwing clothes all over the bedroom. And he's aggravated you the past 3 days over some bullshit to do with nothing you can change. And you want to murder him. That means you still love him.
Well, yeah, that's a different kind of intensity of emotion. And one need not be afraid necessarily of wanting to kill your partner. This is fairly normal. We all have that momentary impulse of feeling that it's like, I could strangle him. I could just strangle him. I could pick him up off the floor and strangle him. And that is a level of anger that you can go to in a relationship. It happens frequently, and God knows, watch a movie.
Or
any movie. Doesn't matter a movie. Long-term couple of a certain point hits that point. And it also becomes the point in which you become safe arguing with your partner, because you're not walking on the eggshells of this could all evaporate tomorrow if you say the wrong thing.
Right.
That's part of that comfortability as well.
Right. Your
danger sign in you want to kill your spouse
right.
is not the desire.
Right.
It's when you move from that being a one-off thought related to a thing and becomes a place that you live.
Right.
And start to want to make plans to make happen.
Right.
Now that is a sign of a toxic or problematic relationship that needs to end, not with, gunfire and poisoning and anything else.
Or belladonna and some whiskey.
Well, there's that. But no, that's the point where you need to recognize that you are moving from situational anger to being angry with a person and their existence.
Right.
Being angry at a person's existence is a big giant red flag and means please stop.
Right.
Angry with what someone did, but able and willing to forgive after a cooling off period.
Right.
That's normal.
Right. All right. Well, you have a review to give before the baristas show up
Oh, I have a review. What's my review?
on Practical Magic.
Oh yeah, so we did watch Practical Magic. It was a good movie. We had a funny moment though in it. Is I swore up and down Aunt Lydia was in it.
Uh huh.
For those of you who watch Handmaid's Tale, I swore up and down that had to be her.
Mm-hmm.
So Margot Martindale, the actress, I do have to apologize to, but y'all got to admit they look oddly similar.
Right.
Hand down, Margot Martindale. You look it up, see what you think. But no, the movie was good. I did think that the ending was a little bit bed knobs and broomsticks slash well, yeah, bed knobs and broomsticks is good enough. It's a little cheesy on the ending. It's a little cheese on the end.
Yep. I'll be right
Okay. But no, we did get to watch it. It was a good movie. It was a very funny movie. It was kind of interesting watching. Yeah, and here's my thing. Sandra Bullock is one of those actresses I don't always appreciate in movies. This was an appreciable role. Like it paired some of her humor with her ability to be serious, which I think a fair number of roles that she's had didn't have.
back. Right.
They asked her to be one or the other, like either be the stupid bimbo or be the smart sophisticate,
Mm-hmm.
and she needs both.
Right.
Like she's just not one of those actresses that can sit still for a whole movie, and God forbid you ask her to be funny for a whole movie because she can't do just one.
Right. So, what's your favorite moment in the movie?
Oh, my favorite moment in the movie?
Uh huh.
I think it was when the aunts left and said, "Clean up your own mess." That was good. That was good. I like that.
Okay. Very
So-
cool. Yeah, I like that moment, but I also love the moment where she's, I believe, writing in her journal, and and the coffee or tea probably is stirring itself, and she's not even paying attention. She's complaining about the aunts teaching her children magic.
Well, yes, and then she does that again at the store she runs in front of the officer.
Yeah.
And kind of has to quickly play it off as like, I don't know what that was, like make it stop. Like didn't realize I was doing that in public again.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
So
yeah.
Follow-up question to this is, what jokes do you now get?
Well, definitely the belladonna in whiskey.
Uh-huh.
I think that's the biggest one. The rose bushes, I guess.
Okay.
That makes more sense in hindsight. I think that's about it.
Okay. Very cool. Very cool. So, would you watch two? Would they come out with a two?
Actually, no.
Okay.
It's been too long.
Okay.
98 to 2023 or later?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's pushing it. That is pushing it. And I would be really afraid it's just going to be like a really bad reboot.
Uh-huh.
Trying to capitalize on if it were to occur, would be a really bad reboot attempting to capitalize on the original.
Right.
And it's either that or it's going to be a remake.
Okay.
As in same movie, same title, same everything, different actresses. Probably Sandra Bullock playing the dark-haired aunt. And it would be one of those movies that's like, one was good, two was bad.
Because there's been talk of Practical Magic 2 for a while now.
Yeah, and I think, unfortunately, with some movies, like you either have to piss or get off the pot. You got to make it or you got to give it up.
Right.
And this far out,
Right.
25 years later,
Right.
I mean, very few movies pull off a 25-year gap
Right.
between, movies. I think the only franchise that successfully done it, or approached that line, I think would have to be, let me see. I want to double check myself. Because I want to see how far the gap is. Well, there was 1989 to 2016 for Ghostbusters, and then the 2021 Ghostbusters Afterlife, which was another 5 years later. So yeah, 27 years between Ghostbusters 2 and Ghostbusters, which, if I remember right, Ghostbusters, wasn't that basically an animated remake? Or am I wrong? Oh no, that wasn't an animated remake, but no. Okay, yeah. So I'm just curious, what's our IMDb rating on the 2016 movie? Because I feel like it's going to be with me. I think that was why everyone was so like, how's Afterlife going to turn out? Because I think that was the movie they had a lot of problems getting any of the original actors to have anything to do with it, and it's an all-female remake.
Right.
Or predominantly. What is... Well, 6.8 out of 10 isn't horrific. What's its Rotten Tomatoes score as well? Because that's usually a good one to look at. I'm not saying Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb should be your, like, albeit,
All right.
Be all end all, like if you watch a movie or not. Just, sometimes, like, ooh, ouch. So tomato meter is 73% fresh, and audience score is 49%. For the 2016 Ghostbusters. I didn't even see it.
Right. I don't know if I saw it or not.
And really Ghostbusters Afterlife basically picked up from the 1989 movie.
Right.
Basically. So even the franchise skipped itself and was like, we're not really gonna do anything there.
Because The Rules of Magic is the second book in the series. And they looked at completing that cycle and taking on the 16-year-old daughter that's like 8-year-old or whatever, and finding the basis of curse and all that. So I don't know. I think I would go see it. Now here's the harder question for you. In all the magic you saw in there, which one thing you wish I had the skill of?
Well, I mean, we could save a lot of money on milk frothing if you could do that spoon thing, but, like, kind of there for that one.
Okay.
Just saying.
You wouldn't want to hear me from a mile away?
No. Most people can hear you from a mile away.
I know. Without a problem.
I know, right? Like, if you've been to an Aeson Knight event, not all of it were his batteries fresh for the bullhorn, so you have heard him for up to a mile away on natural.
Yes. There's some people I can track up to a mile away. Like, I know they're in the fucking area because I smell them. All right. So, no, you are not the asshole for charging extra for a rush order.
Fair enough. Yeah, I can't really, you're the asshole that one. It's like, no, it's worth what it's worth to you. If it's not worth it to you, find someone else.
Right. But also...
Or go to Walmart.
Yeah. Walmart produces cupcakes, and yeah, they don't have the special fondant. They may not be in your daughter's colors at the party, and they're fucking cupcakes. Does anyone care?
Oh, eat them. They taste good.
Yes.
Yeah, no, well, and sometimes it also depends upon the age of the kid. I really have problems, and I have to say this from a third party perspective. And I brought this up to other, parents, especially one that was a friend of mine that started panicking about her 2-year-old's birthday party.
Mm-hmm.
And they were, having financially a really rough year, and they were trying to do this big party, and it was going to completely exhaust them financially. And I'm sitting here going, your child is 2.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be fair, they're probably not going to remember the party at all.
Right.
If they do, it's going to be very minimal.
Right.
They're going to remember if they had fun and had a good day and had cake and got a toy.
Right.
That's most of what they're going to care about.
Right.
And at 2, you really don't have a good concept of what things cost and what things are worth. And quite frankly, your 2-year-old would rather you not be stressed out and having a good time.
Right.
Than they would to, go through this great big Chuck E. Cheese, because I think that was the venue they were trying to get and do, that was going to cost them a whole lot of money, than to have that and it completely stress you out and you be just beside yourself and freaked out and struggling. No. Like, go cheap. They're 2. Get over it.
Right.
Do the thing. Like, I don't consider, like, young kids discerning enough.
Well, okay, what is your earliest age of memory?
Oh. Okay, now see, here's where I go with this. If you want to talk about my absolute earliest memory,
Right.
I want to say age 4. Well, probably there's a couple before that, but like a real full memory,
Right.
that has context and understanding is probably age 4. I go to at least 5 for like really like more than a few.
Right.
Like 5 starts like there's a lot more.
Right.
So 4, there's a few that are of quality and substance, and then before that there's a couple, just a few,
Right.
of that are more flashy. Like I didn't really as an adult, I can look back and hearing stories about the event, I can tell you what was going on, but if I were to just base it on what I remember, no.
Right.
I got nothing.
Yeah.
Like,
I think my earliest memory is around 3.5, 4.
like, yeah, and that's fairly normal. Like that progression
Right.
from like you remember an event and its circumstances and what all was going on to a degree.
Right.
And then you have like the flashy stuff before that.
Right.
Then there's not a lot of them.
Right.
Usually it's big things that stick.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
like I can give an example.
yeah, and I can take a comment.
Okay. Most kids don't care. It's sugar and cake. This is what I'm saying with little kids are not discerning.
Right.
Like they're not connoisseurs of gourmet.
Right.
They're kids.
Right.
Like don't try to make them connoisseurs of gourmet.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing you grow into. You have to eat some crap.
Right.
Before you get there.
Right.
So actually I want to download that actually. Oh, don't delete it. That was almost bad. Oh, the joys of trying to multitask.
Right.
I am bad at it. So yes, for those of you who have wondered what a baby Joe looked like, and we will be sharing that.
Okay.
So share screen, window, and here we go. So this is a baby Joe having a birthday party.
Mm-hmm.
I know where we're at.
Okay.
I don't remember that from the memory. I just know where we're at.
Uh-huh.
And let me see if I zoom it back down, if I can tell which birthday candle that is. I want to say that's
3.
that's I don't know, probably 3, maybe
4.
2 or 4.
4. That's a 4.
Okay. All right. I don't remember this.
Yeah.
I don't. I got nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I know where we're at. I'm sure that is a chocolate cake. My mother was predictable, if nothing else. I'm sure the candle lived at our at the lake, because this was at a lake.
Mm-hmm.
My parents, long story short, had property. It is a lot less impressive than it sounds, believe me.
Right.
And no, I don't remember this party. It looks like I had a good time.
Right.
Like, that's it. That's all I got for you.
Right.
I don't remember it. I had a sugary cake, and I probably got some toys. I'd say that's probably the year I got the Tonka trucks.
Yay!
I don't remember getting them.
Did you get the plastic or the metal?
Metal.
Awesome. Good parent.
Old
Good
school metal.
Yes.
But yeah, like, that's it.
Yeah, that's it. That's how that is. That's where that is. And you know, it's like spend $500 on a party, spend $24 on a party.
Yeah.
Spend
For a little
$24 on the party, take the other $486, $73, stick that in a savings account for 14 years. You have your college fund.
Well, pretty much. I mean, and if you can't do that, don't feel bad. Put $20 in a savings account.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's a start. It's something.
Right.
But more importantly, don't get obsessed with the idea that a little kid is going to totally remember this, and if you do it wrong, they're going to be scarred for their life.
Right.
They're 2.
Right.
They're 3. They're 4. Like, it's really hard. You have to do some pretty horrible things.
Right.
To scar a kid for life.
Right.
Before like age 10.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's really hard. It's really hard.
Right. And see, people do not like it that I don't buy children gifts. If I buy them anything, it's going to be a savings bond. Why? Because in 2 weeks, they will not remember the gift if it is not broken, because, we buy our children get cheap shit from China.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't really pay into their future. Whereas a $20 savings bond bought now, by the time they're 20, is worth a lot more.
Not necessarily savings bonds. I will point that out. My grandparents did the savings bond thing back when it made sense.
Mm-hmm.
Always check your rates.
Yeah.
Not all of those are that impressive.
Right. Well, comparatively.
But I'm saying, giving a kid something that they'll have, because when they're not going to remember a toy,
right,
that they can have in like 5, 10, 20 years, does have a lot more value, and those can stack up and become quite useful.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you're going to pay anyone's education by getting them 18 years worth of $20 savings bonds.
Right.
But it's something.
All right, let's do some math here.
Okay.
Let's go up to age 10. And let's do some calculations on holidays. You have their birthday, plus their Christmas, plus their Easter.
So birthday, Easter, Christmas.
Okay. When do kids also normally get gifts? Christening, well, that's a one-off.
That's a one-off.
So that's 3 times 10.
Hell, Halloween. Valentine's Day. My grandmother used to stick $10 in a card.
All right.
So 5 holidays a year.
Right.
So $100 a year.
Mhm. Times 10 years.
Yeah, is $1,000.
Times 4.30%. That is $18,049 if you do that, if they cash them in at that 10-year mark.
Hey, not bad. Wait, we did something wrong there.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, $100 a year times 10 years times 0.0, or excuse me, 1.043. It's a little lower. It's $1,043.
Yeah. Well,
I'm just saying, it's not the greatest.
Oh, the 20. The lowest, the double E series is 25.
Okay.
So we have to recalculate that.
Oh.
So 5 times 25 equals $125 times 10 years and 4.30%.
For 4.3%?
Yep.
Yeah, that's $1,303.
Right.
$1,250 of purchasing to $1,303.
Right.
Oh yeah, at most asked to try to charge a cashing fee to liquidate the bond too.
Right.
So there's that.
Right.
So realistically, but that's 12. So even if you get zeroed out on any interest you earn,
Mm-hmm.
it's still $1,250 you didn't have.
Yeah.
It's $1,250.
Right.
That's not going to buy anyone a house or a
Right.
car or but it will be something.
Right. That's books. That is, a decent, a down payment.
That's books. That's a laptop. That's a cell phone. That's, assuming current prices. If like someone started this,
Right.
back then,
Right.
it's something.
Right.
Like, yeah, it's not, it's money.
Yeah.
It helps.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
It's a class.
Yeah.
Like if you want to skip traditional college education, that's a class.
Right.
To do something.
Yeah. That's a class. That's, the deposit on the first apartment. Instead of a toy, they're not going to remember.
Yeah, because and especially if you're talking about like vocational technical,
Mm-hmm.
like if someone wants to start their own business,
Right.
I just want to see,
right,
in West Virginia, if someone did that. So Fayette Institute of Technology.
Yep.
Would that be right? That's your VOTech?
Yep.
Okay, so their website, adult, let's see, adult programs,
Mm-hmm.
Adult education, and it tells me, oh, there we go. No, maybe. Come on. Special topic classes. I was just looking to see if they had like an accounting course and a, basic business, and yeah, their website's kind of annoying.
Well, I've gone over to ACT.
Okay, thank you.
I'm just looking at my LPN.
Oh, well, there you go.
And
I'm
that's
saying that's a whole.
$6,000.
It's what now?
$6,000, and it's a 1-year program.
Okay, so that's 1/6 you already have in the bank
Right.
to do that program.
Right.
I think you can cough up some, scholarships and, financial aids and,
Right.
stuff to cover the rest.
Right.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Just saying. You can get some places with that. Not a lot of places, not a full Harvard education,
Well, no.
but you can get some places with that.
Right.
Maybe start a small business that pays for the Harvard education.
Right.
Turn 18, start a side hustle, help travel.
Yeah.
Take a backpack week.
Yeah. So, those are things to think about in general.
Mhm.
All right, guys. We hope you've enjoyed the Psychic Coffee Shop. Yes, we are tuning into more psychic news and less political news because it's a damn landslide out there and we're getting enough after that. All right. So we do want to take a moment and thank our baristas. Our baristas are amazing.
They are. And we also want to take a moment to talk about our Patreon.
Yes.
So yeah, if you're interested in joining our Patreon, and we would love your sponsorship, we have memberships at $1, $5, and $10 a month. And each of those come with an end-of-video thank you during credits, early access to videos, early access to daily tarot and daily affirmation, a monthly station meeting, access to our private Facebook group, free access to all virtual classes, and a free ticket to gallery readings. Now, what differentiates those 3 levels is what discount do you want on a private reading with Aeson Knight? At the $1 level, you can get a 25% discount. At the $5 level, you get a 50% discount. And at $10 a month, you get a 75% discount on a reading with Aeson Knight.
Right.
So come on, guys. It will give you more back than you will pay for it.
Well, not only that, but you also get to participate in product research. You get to be my guinea pigs.
You do. You get to choose what we talk about.
Yeah.
You get a voice in that. That's what that station meeting is.
Right. Speaking of product research, that is up. I do currently have a product research question. So, baristas, if you haven't gone and voted on that product research, please do so. I find your information very valuable, and you can expect more this week because Aeson's in training at Hay House.
Hey, there you go. So, with that said, we do want to thank Beverly Walker, Mika G, Kathy, Mary Winfield, Brenda, Shannon C, Shannon D, Lady Gwendolyn, Charles Shaw, Tracy Van, Caitlin Bell, and Devin. If you'd like to learn more about us, the show, or how you too can become a Patreon sponsor and receive all the wonderful benefits our baristas receive, please visit us at pcsbnetwork.com.
Yep. So with that, guys, you have a great weekend. We will see you Thursday night with coffee and tea, and I believe it's Gwen or Sandy. Gwen.
Oh, I can't keep up.
I can't keep up. I'll have to look on the site. And that's Thursday night at 8 p.m. And until then, good night, y'all.
Good night.